Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So first off, I want to start with a little backstory on today's review. So this film, Long Lost, was sent to me a couple months ago as a screener by the production company, and that's awesome. This is actually the second film this year that has been sent to me to review, and that is so intimidating. Like, at first it's really exciting. You're like, oh my god, somebody actually wants you to review their film. But then there's a lot of pressure in that because you don't know if you're gonna like it or not. And I know me. I know if I don't like something or I find a lot of issues with it, I am super critical. But knowing how critical I am, I don't want the studios or any of the actors or anybody associated with that film to ever see that review. I really wouldn't wish that upon them. Positive reviews, absolutely. Watch them to your heart's content. But I give my opinion because I like talking about films and I'm always going to be honest. But if I know it's going to be negative, I don't really want to force my negativity on people. Like, no, please. Don't say that. Don't watch me say these things. I don't wish it on anyone. I can be really nasty. Because I get really mad, and I get really mad because I'm really passionate about films. I love them so much. So if you upset me, I get really upset. But anyway, a few months ago, I had another production company sent me a screener for a completely different film, and I'm not going to name that film. And I was super flattered. I'd had people try to send me screeners in the past, and I said no. But I'm like, okay, say yes. So I did, and I noticed I actually really like one of the actresses in it, so I was like, cool, and I watched it. And I hated it so supremely that I think I stopped every 5 to 10 minutes to go into the other room and tell my mother everything that I hated about it. And by the time I finished it, I was so frustrated. I couldn't think of anything to actually put into a review of this film other than it's utter shit. And being that that company was following me on Twitter, they were going to see anything I said about it. So I made the conscious decision not to review that film because I did not want them to see what negative things I had to say. That was my own decision. Cross to a couple months ago when Mainframe Pictures, I believe it is, I'm sorry if I've said that wrong, sends me this film, please review it, and I looked at the trailer and I went, doesn't really seem like my cup of tea. But that doesn't mean that it's, that, you know, I was gonna think it was bad. That just means that it wasn't gonna be for me. But, so anyway, I put it off, and I finally watched it the other day, and I'm a bit mixed. Which mixed is good. I can work with mixed. I still had some critical things to say, but I felt like I had enough good things to balance that out that I could get away with it. They already responded to me on Instagram, so they didn't seem upset, which was a relief. It's stressful. You know, usually I'm just like, you know, caution to the wind, saying whatever the fuck I want about these films. But when the people who make the films actually say, hi, please review this, you're like, oh shit. The pressure is on. Anyway, so I'm reviewing Long Lost today, and you know what? It has pros, it has cons, but if this sounds like your type of film, definitely go and check it out and see what you think. I'm just one person. I'm one lonely person on the internet. My opinion is just one. It's not long. So definitely, I always, except for in the case of the mockumentary series Lunatics, except for that, in any other case, don't take my opinion as you're gonna feel the same way. You're probably not. And don't take my opinion to mean don't go see this film or do go see this film. I always encourage, whatever the film may be, watch it for yourself. decide what it is. If maybe from my review you're a little hesitant on whether you'd want to spend money on it, okay. Wait until it appears on a streaming service. That's fine, that works too. But either way, just don't deprive yourself of having your own experience because of anything I say. Anyway, I'm just babbling on at this point, so let's just babble on about the film. Long Lost is a 2018 American mystery thriller film directed by Eric Bloomquist in his full-length feature directorial debut and written by Eric and Carson Bloomquist and Adam Wepler. When Seth receives a mysterious letter inviting him to spend the weekend at a secluded mansion in the country, he soon realizes the people inside the house may know him better than he knows himself. I feel the title of this film has dual meaning behind it, the first being that it centers around a long-lost brother, the other that you will be long lost after watching it. I wish to begin with the positives. This film has 4 main actors, Adam Wepler, Nicholas Tucci, Catherine Cochran, and Fran Kranz, and 3 out of the 4 I am familiar with as I have seen some of their work in the past. Watching this film, I believe when it comes to the technicality, it is a very well done film. The overall camera work and cinematography are all on point, and so it looks excellent, crisp and clear, and angles are all great. It certainly gives the appearance of someone who knows what they're doing. There is a confidence in the way the camera moves and depicts the story, and I like that. It doesn't feel amateurish, and given the subject matter, I appreciated nothing being given a dramatic look, as it would have made the film very disorienting. So all the filming decisions were, for all intents and purposes, perfect. The acting was also solid and very impressive. Wepler does a great job depicting Seth as someone very insecure and out of his comfort zone. He's having his boundaries pushed in the story, and specifically his character reminded me a great deal of Alice in Wonderland. Seth is Alice and he has fallen down the rabbit hole, and when he comes out the other side, he is just losing it and wants to go home. Watching it, I too felt like Alice down the rabbit hole, but I entirely bought Wepler's depiction. You felt worried about him and you want him to get the hell out of Dodge. Tucci's performance as Richard was the most disturbing, which probably makes it the best. As soon as you see him, it's alarm bells. He comes off as disturbed, cold, unhinged, and you wouldn't trust him as far as you could throw him, even if he were your brother. Richard and Seth are such opposites, so watching them interact is quite unsettling, but Tucci certainly made me believe it. Corcoran also gives a great performance as Abby. She's an emotional yo-yo. She's smart and caring, then she comes off as a femme fatale, so you want to trust her, but there's always that edge to her that tells you that you shouldn't. I felt Corcoran was spot on in her portrayal, so on the whole, I was very impressed with the performances. All the technical stuff is there, but the overall product feels soulless. I can't get past my issues with the script. While I appreciate that it has a twist ending, which I was happy about because it puts the events of the film into a new perspective that makes it easier to swallow, the twist itself did not make any sense to me and did not allow me to understand why any of the events took place. It seems like an interesting idea on paper, but when you see it on screen, I didn't feel that it worked. By the end of the film, I felt as confused and messed with as Seth, and I wasn't able to grasp what the point was. Now, I am a firm believer that certain films should not have to spoon feed their intentions or message to the audience, but in this case, a spoonful of answers would have helped this film go down much easier. There is so much in the script that I felt could have been utilized better, and as I said, having a twist is a great idea. I just don't think they picked the right twist. I also found an issue with the set. The set itself felt like a set. It felt like a prop. It didn't feel like it had been appropriately integrated into the film, and for that reason, it gave the film this constant tone that made me aware it was a performance. Now, maybe this was intentional. After all, we do learn at the end that this was technically staged, but when you think about it, if these characters were going to spend more money than God to create an illusion, then the illusion should feel real, and it didn't. The set reminded me of how pornography is made. You find a location, rent it out, use the essentials like bed, couch, etc., and film what you need to be filmed and you're done. The set felt cold and barren. It didn't feel like the home of a wealthy man who likes to throw his cash around. It felt like a home that's not lived in, that was temporarily rented out so someone could make a film. Like I said, considering the twist, this may have been intentional, and if it was, then I tip my hat off to the production team because that's brilliant. But if it's not intentional, then it was very noticeable and made it hard for me to sink into the film truly. On the whole, this is a very well made and well executed and performed film. It has excellent technical points and has an interesting premise that showed a great deal of potential. However, I found the script to be a missed opportunity and that it didn't push itself far enough or present itself to the best of its abilities. Nevertheless, I think it stands as a film that showcases the talent of its director and actors, and that's nothing to sneeze at. And those are my thoughts on Long Lost. Oh, so stressful. I'd be sweating if it wasn't for the fact that it's like 9 degrees and I'm freaking freezing. Seriously, my fingers are so cold I don't think I can feel them right now. And I'm starting to shiver. And I can hear the heaters on, but oh my god, the heater is on in my room and I can't feel it. Oh, this is horrible. I'm gonna freeze to death. I'm gonna die. I may be calling 000 by the end of the evening. Well, it's already after midnight, but given an hour or two, if I do not wrap this up and get myself warm, I am in for a very rough night. It's not going to be pretty. And I'm saying that with a smile on my face, but I'm actually terrified. If you do stumble upon this film, definitely check it out. If it sounds like it's to your liking, again, check it out. Decide for yourself. I think for a directorial debut, there is a lot of promise. And I do believe 3 out of the 4 cast of this film and I think the director as well are all involved in another film that is currently in production, I think, if I'm remembering what I read on IMDb correctly. I might not be, my memory is for shit. But anyway, yeah, I might go and check that out and see if, you know, maybe there's been some improvement from this film to that film. So I don't know, I'll keep an eye on it, and if I come across it, maybe I'll review it. Maybe it'll come out next year or later this year, I don't know, but got my eye on it. So anyway, closing out as usual, thanking my patrons, and until next time, bye.